I can't figure out if college game day is down bad or if college football is down. But if college game day goes all the way to the West Coast from Miami versus Cal, holy moly. Game day just started at Cal. So what time is it out there? They're 3 hours behind, so it's 6 in the morning there. Wow. Anyway, shout out to people at Cal who I guess they said been down there since midnight to get in line or whatever. But yeah, game day just came on. Welcome to week 6 of the 2024 college football season. I'm still in doing the best I can mode as far as the videos and stuff like that go. I can't do any live streams or anything until we get power, water, and internet. Well, power and internet for sure. I guess I could go to my house and do a live stream without water. Look, I'm not a survivalist. Y'all can type to your blue in the face. Why didn't you get a generator? Why didn't you dig your own well in the backyard? Why don't you have a squirrel riding a pedal on an internet machine? I'm not doing any of that. Sorry. If a disaster happens again next year, I'll be in the same boat I'm in now. I'm just not that. That ain't me. I'm not one of these doomsday preppers. So anyway, it is what it is. So yeah, I'm down bad. I got no generator. I'm a gypsy. I'm a nomad. I'm a wanderer, whatever you want to call it. I'm just hopping from place to place. I don't even know where I'm at. Yes, I do. That's a joke. Of course I know where I'm at. But do you know where I'm at? I don't know. Week 6 of the 2024 college football season, and oh man, I always try to get excited about every week of college football. I do. Even the weeks where people go, there ain't no good games this week. I try to find some kind of games, and there are a few today. Here's the problem. If you looked at this schedule in a random year, I think there would be some good games, right? Clemson and Florida State, Georgia and Auburn. Well, the problem is this is 2 pretty good teams and 2 pretty bad teams in this one. The Georgia-Auburn game, of course, a rivalry game for Georgia. And I am curious to see how Georgia responds after getting beat last week on the road at Bama. It's a home game for Georgia. I think the crowd will be into it. It's an afternoon game, so it's not an early kickoff. So I expect Georgia to come out and play well today. Now, they've got slow starts out in the yin-yang. It seems like a multi-year problem. And I'd love to see that get fixed today, and maybe it will. Or maybe we're in store for the same type of crap we saw last year when Georgia played at Auburn, where Georgia was losing at halftime, Georgia was losing in the third quarter, and ended up winning in the end. I don't know. So it is a rivalry game. It is worth watching. Yeah, I'll be watching it, of course. And I'll be uploading reaction videos all throughout the day like I did last Saturday. And then you've got Clemson and Florida State, which, again, in the preseason looked like one of the biggest games of the year. But turns out Florida State is boycotting the postseason for 2 years. I thought Florida State only boycotted the postseason last year. You know, we're not watching, we're not going, none of our players are playing, we're mad, we're taking our fucking toys and going home and that. But turns out that was a 2-year deal for Florida State because they're not participating in the postseason this year either. No version of the postseason. Not a 12-team playoff, not a Cheez-It Bowl, not a Pop-Tart Bowl. Nothing. They're playing 12 games, and that's it. What's happening with y'all's recruiting class, too, by the way, Florida State, man? I might need to revisit that video I made a couple of months ago about your recruiting class. Boy, every time Florida State got a commit, they run right to that video. What you got to say now? What you got to say now, Woo? Same thing I said in the video. Dummy! Wait till signing day. Boy, Florida State commitments are dropping like flies because Mike Norvell doesn't know what he's doing. Neither does the rest of the staff. And there's the terrible team. And then on top of the Clemson-Florida State game kind of being a little disappointing today because Florida State's so bad, you've also got that added negative aspect that DJ Uiagalelei isn't playing. Oogabadoo. And, you know, there was a storyline there because, of course, Clemson was the first school Oogabadoo was at. That's where he started his college career 33 years ago when he first enrolled, then to Oregon State and now to Florida State. But so we don't get to see Oogabadoo play against his former team, Clemson. So, and there's some other decent games on today worth watching. Missouri at Texas A&M. Missouri's undefeated, ranked in the top 10, but they're an underdog on the road at Texas A&M. Now, that might be the most impactful game of the day. Right? Missouri could drop that one, and they still got Bama down the road too. So we'll see. What do y'all think about the Missouri-Texas A&M game? By the way, is that Texas? You think Missouri loses? I know Missouri hasn't looked great. They haven't. But when was the last time Texas A&M looked great? Don't know. What about Arkansas and Tennessee? I just think Tennessee's going to steamroll them. I do. I think Tennessee's going to steamroll them. Maybe I'm wrong. I've been wrong before. If you've been here long enough, remember back in 2019, I picked Georgia to beat South Carolina, which of course they didn't. They went ahead and didn't win that game. They lost it. Did y'all watch Oregon last night? Let me tell you something about Oregon. I don't know that I've changed my mind about Oregon from week 2 to now. Now, I was obviously really high on them in the offseason and the preseason. And then you remember the first 2 weeks, you're scratching your head, going, what's going on with Oregon? And I know they blew a couple of bad teams out. But did you watch the game last night? And it wasn't close. It ended up being 31-10. But the way Oregon plays, if you're an Oregon fan, it's got to be frustrating to watch them play. That game should have been about 50-10. And it ends up being 31-10. Of course, they had the 2 red zone turnovers, which is a head scratcher, especially considering Dylan Gabriel's. Not only is Dylan Gabriel in his 5th year, he's in his 5th year as a starter. So it's not like this guy has been hiding behind the bench for 4 years and now all of a sudden he's a starting quarterback. This woos Dylan Gabriel has been starting for 5 years and throws 2 interceptions in the end zone yesterday. Oregon. It's so frustrating to watch Oregon. That's what I mean when I say it's got to be frustrating to be an Oregon fan. When you watch Oregon play, there are so many people on that team that you go, man, I wish we had that guy. Speaking of Oogie Badoogie, his little brother at Oregon is a wrecking ball along the defensive line, linebacker area there. Jordan Burch, a kid they got in the portal from South Carolina, just lives in the backfield. I mean, Tez Johnson on offense. The 2 of their running backs are. But you watch them, and it's just, the yards are there. It looks like the plays are there. There's NFL players all over the place. I mean, you get down there, 2 interceptions in end zone, and you end up at 31-10. Again, that's fine. You won by 3 touchdowns. I mean, it's not like it was close. I'm not shitting on Oregon and saying, nope, they're going 6-6 and they're not making a bowl game. But it just, I thought in the preseason that Oregon would be really good, playoff good, national title contending possibly good. And I watch them now, and they still look that good when you watch them play. But it's just something is off. Something is not clicking. And whatever that something is going to cost Oregon a game or 2 this year, it seems like to me. And speaking of that, who do they play next week? I think they play Ohio State next week. Have 2 red zone turnovers against Ohio State. Let me know how that works out for you. Duck, man. What uniforms are y'all wearing next week? Ladies and with the uniform. Oregon and Tennessee with the uniforms. At least Oregon was kind of like the originator of that. Tennessee, bandwagon. I think Tennessee will win big today. What else we got today? Penn State is playing. Who's Penn State playing? Who's Penn State playing today? Forget. Iowa and Ohio State. Now, it's probably be a low-scoring game. Generally, not that I don't think Ohio State can score on Iowa. I do think Ohio State can score on Iowa. I question whether or not Iowa can score on Ohio State, though. Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if the Iowa-Ohio State game ends up with a final score similar to the Oregon-Michigan State game last night, somewhere in the neighborhood of 31-10. It's possible Ohio State can get hot and run up and down the field on them. We'll see, but, we like to clown on Iowa, but we all know they got a pretty good defense. That'll be an interesting game to watch. Definitely the best defense Ohio State's played so far this year, right? So we'll see how they look. Bama's at Vandy. I mean, it's just not a great day of games. But Uncle Lou will be here. I told you I was going to find somewhere to watch these games. And I am somewhere where I can watch all these games just like I was last week. So I'm in my room right now watching College Game Day. I'll be getting dressed. Uncle Lou's still in his PJs and that. Quit looking at my PJ. But so I will be getting dressed and going to watch all these games today so that I can upload pointless, barely watchable reaction videos. And who knows? A lot of times in the world of college football, when you have these weeks where you don't think there's going to be anything great or exciting that happens or whatever it is, sometimes those end up being the best weekends of all. So I don't know. Take a look through the top 10 or the top 15. Probably going to see some upsets in there, don't you think? I don't know. Maybe. Missouri? Well, that wouldn't even be an upset. Missouri's an underdog. Missouri's not very good. Does anybody really think Missouri's one of the best 15 teams? Raise your hand if you think Missouri's one of the best 15 teams in the country. No. Now, they might can beat Texas A&M, but that won't prove they're one of the best 15. Well, anyway, we'll see. We'll see. I'll be checking in with you throughout the day, though. Hope everybody it has a great weekend. Have a great Saturday. Unless you're an Auburn fan, I hope your team wins today. Hope everybody wins today, except the Auburn fans, of course. They got to go ahead and tote that giant L. Shout out to Hugh Freeze.